With us now is TV3 reporter Emma Cropper, who joins us from New Zealand. Emma, tell us a little bit more about the fact that this investigation has now turned to a criminal investigation.
Yes, they will be looking to see if anyone is criminally responsible for these deaths and injuries. It all took place on what is a private island here in New Zealand, and tour groups, they operate there. Royal Caribbean has confirmed that several of its passengers on its cruise liner Ovation of the Seas were there on a day trip, but they would not provide any further information beyond this. But we are now learning more information about the survivors. We know that of the 31, 27 of them suffered burns to more than 30% of that, covered more than 30% of their bodies. And we're also learning their ages. Some were as young as 13, the oldest 72 years old.
Were people given warnings? I mean, if you went to visit this island with the volcano, were you told there was any possibility there might be problems?
There is a risk that does come with this visit. Everyone knew that this alert was sitting at alert level 2, but it is regarded as normal around here. Last season, we were told that these tours were operating on that island with the level 2 for most of the season, but every day they do assess the risk, we are told. And yesterday, they obviously decided that it was still okay to take tour groups onto that island, but something has gone horribly wrong. This explosion has happened out of nowhere. No one saw it coming, despite that island being quite heavily monitored by GNS here in New Zealand. They'll be looking into that. Part of this investigation will be determining if they made the right decision yesterday to take those tour groups onto that island.
OK, Emma, thank you very much indeed. We appreciate you joining us. Well, joining us now on the phone from New Zealand is Geoff Hopkins. He'd just been on a tour of the White Island with his daughter Liliani, and returned to a boat to leave when the volcano erupted. They're both first aid trained, and we're looking after more than 20 of the wounded as they were brought to the boat. Mr. Hopkins, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Could you just talk us through exactly what happened?
Yeah, so we took the tour in the morning and was on the island for maybe an hour 45, something like that. And as we finished our tour, got back on our boat. We were ferried on inflatable dinghies out to the boat that was just anchored in the bay. Got back on our boat. The other tour group was still on the island, and we just headed around the bay to take another view, one final photo opportunity of the crater. Did that, and as we turned around, the volcano erupted right in front of us. And what was, for a moment, quite spectacular just turned very sinister very, very quickly.
Geoff, did you have any warning?
None whatsoever. Bizarrely, there was no sound above the noise of the engines on the boat. So we heard no explosion, no rumblings. It was, silent almost, and there was nothing to suggest anything out of the ordinary when we were on our visit to actually on the island, or when we were in the boat.
And Geoff, I mean, we're told, obviously, the death toll keeps rising. I think up to 13 people are feared to have lost their lives now. Many more have been extremely badly burned. I think you saw a lot of the people being taken out of here with horrific burns. Yeah.
I think the boat we were on, we were able to evacuate 23 people. Every single one of them had burns from major and upwards. I've not seen burns I don't see burns, but it was horrific, the burns that I've seen. Yeah.
It's everyone's nightmare, this, isn't it? And you go to a kind of tourist place, a volcano site, you never imagine in your worst nightmares this kind of thing would happen. And yet there is a suggestion that, people knew, the authorities knew this was a potential risk, that this was an accident or tragedy waiting to happen. What are you learning about that, about the risk, about potential warnings, which obviously weren't passed on to you, but we believe were out there?
I think it's made very clear when you sign up for the tour that this is an active volcano, and you're taken to the very edge of the crater to view it, and it comes with an element of risk. The risk was low, so therefore we took the trip, and I've been before. It was not the first time I've been, and so we were happy to take that risk. And this is a tragedy that it happened so suddenly, and that volcano is so heavily monitored, yet nothing seemed to suggest or give any indication that something was about to happen.
Geoff, we're seeing a photograph of you and your daughter just before you went onto the island. And I know you're both first aid trained, so you were able to help some of those who had been burned. You spent time, didn't you, with one woman who just kept asking you if she was going to make it. I mean, were you able to help her? How do you deal with somebody who is in such dire straits?
It's just you've got to keep positive with so many victims on the boat, so many injured on the boat. You're spread thin. We did get some paramedics onto the boat about halfway back that helped, but it's just about trying to keep people alive until you can get them into professional care. And it's got to be positive. When someone says to you, "I don't think I'm going to make it," you've got to say, "You can. You're a fighter. There's more for you than it's not going to end today." And just keep them positive, irrespective of your own thoughts or what your own feeling. You just got to keep positive and encouraging people. Very difficult.
23 people you managed to rescue on that boat. How many of them do you think have made it?
We know that 5 didn't make it through the night. We don't know which 5. So, definitely there were fatalities on those that we brought back.
Absolutely horrific. Geoff, thank you to you and your daughter for all the help that you gave to the poor people that were caught up in this. Obviously, a lucky escape for you two and a lucky escape for some others, but obviously an absolute tragedy for those who lost their lives and been very badly burned. We really appreciate you.
You were able to help.
Yeah,
Geoff.
I mean, amazingly selfless of you to do what you did, but I mean, I'd imagine for you, both of you, a very shocking experience.
Yes, it was one we won't forget in a long time.
No.
Well, we appreciate your help very much. I'm sure everyone involved in that appreciates your help, and we thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck, Geoff, and to your daughter
Thank you.
Liliani as well.
Can't imagine it, can you?
I know.